I'm Miss Maswa bringing you this class, and today's topic is capitalization. This is the most common thing that we know in English, but before we talk about that, let us go to our previous lesson and look at what we discussed last time. If you remember, last time we talked about contextual vocabularies. We saw different vocabularies based on the context that we have found. The first word that we saw was dusk. So what did we say about dusk? If you remember, when we talked about this word, we said that it is what? The time of the day when immediately after the sun sets. So that means it is not totally dark or totally as night, but it is the time of day where we are approaching night. So it is just after the sun sets. So that is what we said about dusk. The second word that we saw was lagging. Lagging is the word where the meaning of the word is where someone is going behind or staying behind. That is what we meant by lagging. Or it could also be an object. If you remember last time we gave an example by saying, my computer is lagging because it has many programs in it. That means it's working really slow. And the other word that we saw was leap year. Leap year. So what is leap year? Leap year is the year that is what? That occurs or that comes every 4 years. That is what we said about leap year. We also said at that year, on a leap year, February, the month which always has the 28 days, will become what? 29 days in a leap year. And we also said it is the days of that year is what? 366 days instead of 65. That is what we said about leap year. The other one is extra. Extra. So extra is what? An idea or something that we have when we already have something. So it is something more than needed or than expected. If you remember last time, we gave an example by saying he worked extra hours this week or last week. We are saying this person has a normal working hours, but this person has added more to his working hours. So that is what the meaning of extra is. The other one is bearing. So bearing in this context, the idea of bearing in this context is the sense of direction of something. So people have a direction of going somewhere or to going to do something. So bearing, it's that. So if you remember, we gave an example by saying how the sailor looks at the bearing to tries to find out his bearing based on the compass that he has. So bearing is what? A location or a sense of direction. The other one is determine. To determine is to understand or in this case to decide something after you have got a let's say an information or a certain situation about that idea. For example, we said the teacher, last time we said the teacher will determine your results after the exam. So after you have taken the exam, the teacher will determine whether or not you have failed, you have passed, or you will see your results in general. Okay. The other word that we talked about is the opposite of dusk, which is dawn. So dawn is what? It is the time of day when the sun rises. So it is the early hours of the morning, while dusk is the opposite. It is what? the late hours of the day where the sun sets. So these two are the opposites of each other. And the final word that we saw is defer. The simple terms that we use to talk about this word is it is the short version of different. So differ means what? The opposite of something. So people may have different opinions. In this case, we can say their opinions differ from each other. And that's what we're saying. What we're saying is that they have different ideas. They have opposite ideas from each other. So these were the words that we talked about last time, and I'm sure all of you have been using them in your sentences, in your writings throughout the week. Okay, now let's go to today's topic. Today's topic is, we have lesson 9, and our topic is capitalization. This is a very common thing that we have, as I said earlier, in English. This is very common, but this is also something a lot of students and a lot of people make mistakes on, capitalization. People should know when to use capitalization and what time to use capitalization. So there are times when we don't need capitalization and we use it, and there are times when we need capitalization and we do not use it. So where are the times we should use it? Let's see a few rules of that. The first one is, and this is the most common one, is to use capitalization at the beginning of a sentence. So this is very common. This is the most common one, and we use it at the beginning of a sentence. So at the end, at the time of after the full stop or period, we use it a lot. So, for example, they love going to the park. If you see here, one is capitalized. What is that? At the beginning, we have capitalized they. So why do we do that? Because that is the rule of capitalization. At the beginning of every sentence, we use capitalization. Another example. Adam is a good boy. Again, at the beginning, we have used what? Capitalization. In this case, we use capitalization not because also it is at the beginning, but we also use it because it is what? A proper noun. It is the name of a person. That's also what we use it. We will see that later on. That is the other rule of capitalization. So, he will be here tomorrow. So again, we have capitalized he. So at the beginning of a sentence, we use what? Capitalization. That is the first rule of capitalization. Another one. Tomorrow, I will go to school. So again, if you see here, we have used capitalization at the beginning. And we also used another capitalization, but we'll talk about that later on because that is one of the rules. So this is the first rule of capitalization, using capitalization at the beginning of a sentence. What is the second one? The second one is to use capitalization with proper nouns. to use capitalization with proper nouns. Proper nouns are what? Names of places, people, and things. So we use them with capitalization. For example, Esther went home early today. So if we use this, Esther is what? A name of a person. So if that is the case, we use it to talk about what? Proper nouns, and it is in capitalization. So we capitalize the name of the person. I met John at the train station. So again here we have, in this case, again, two capitalization. Yes. One, it is at the beginning of a sentence. And two, because, why? It is also because it is the pronoun I always is used as a capitalization. That's also one thing we'll see later. But our focus in this rule is for a proper noun. So in that case, it is John. John is the name of a person, and we are using capitalization. It doesn't matter if John, the name, comes at the beginning of a sentence or at the middle of a sentence. It's still the same. We're using capitalization if there is a name of a place or a people. For example, they live in Addis. They live in Addis. So again, Addis or Addis Ababa is a name of a place, a city. So if that is the case, we're still using it with capitalization. So don't forget. So next time you cannot say, for example, Addis. If this is what you write, it is not the correct way. You have to write it using capitalization if it is a proper noun. If it is a name of a person, a place, or a thing, then you should use what? Capitalization. Okay. This is the second rule of capitalization. What about the third rule of capitalization? Is earlier on we have been using the pronoun I, if you remember, right? So use capitalization when you use the pronoun I. Okay? So when we use the pronoun I, we always use capitalization. So even though if it comes at the beginning, even though it comes at the middle of a sentence, or even maybe at last, we always use what? Capitalization. This is a rule you should remember. Students a lot of times forget this and they make it a small I. That is not the correct way of using I, okay? The pronoun I is always used in capitalization. Example, I am going to the cinema. I'm going to the cinema. That is what? We are using I at the beginning, yes, but we also use it because it should be capitalized. My brother and I, if you see here, it came at the middle, right? But we're still using capitalization. My brother and I love reading books. So both my brother and I love reading books. But if you see here, I is at the middle, unlike the first one. If your argument, for example, is, if some people argue, because this is the beginning of a sentence, we use capitalization. That's why we capitalize I. That's not the case. So even here in the middle, when it came in the middle, we used capitalization. That is the rule. Wherever I is, we use capitalization. I love my pet. I love my pet. So if you have a pet at home, and if you enjoy or love that pet, then you say, I love my pet. Again, capitalization. So don't forget this rule. We have capitalization at the beginning of a sentence. We have capitalization with proper nouns that are names of peoples, places, or things. We also use capitalization in the case of I. What is the other way of using capitalization? We use capitalization for months, days, holidays, okay, and holidays and the like. So we use it for months, days, and holidays. Example. My birthday is on December. My birthday is on December. So, this is what? This is a month. This is a month. So we use capitalization for December to write the month. Another example. Tuesday is my day off. Tuesday is my day off. The date. So, months, in this case, day, in this case, and also holidays. For example, Christmas is my favorite holiday. Again, if you see it, we use capitalization for holiday. We use it for days. Monday to Sunday, we use capitalization. And we also use capitalization for the months, okay? From January to August, so we always, January to December, we use what? Capitalization. Okay. This is the fourth one. And finally, the fifth one, we use capitalization for titles. Titles of books or different things. For example, in this case, we have to be aware when we are writing titles for books, we only capitalize words that are important. So some of the non-important words, like let's say prepositions, articles, some articles at the middle may not have what? A capitalization. For example, the Lord of the Rings. If you see here, this is a title of a trilogy book. So it's a 3-book series, and the title is The Lord of the Rings. So if you see here, some of the words are capitalized and some are not. Why? Because we believe that these, for example, the Lord and rings are the most important words of this title. So we have capitalized them, and words like of and the here are not capitalized. In the case of the first word, it is similar to the article here. It is different. One is capitalized, one is not. Why? Because the first one is the beginning of the sentence, of the title, so we capitalize it anyways. But in the middle, we don't capitalize it. So we don't capitalize words that we find non-important in this case. Okay, another one. The tale of two cities. Again, if you see here, we have capitalized tale, to, and cities. Since this is the beginning of the topic, it's okay. It's always capitalized. But we have capitalized tale, we have capitalized to, and cities, again, because it is important. This is a book. This is also a book. Another one. The Sound of Music. Again, if you see here, we have capitalized what words that we have taught is the most important. The Dark Tower. Again, what? Words that are important, but words, in this case, we don't have words, prepositions that we find not important. So this is how you capitalize. The first one is what? Capitalization at the beginning of a sentence always is capitalized. The second one, we capitalize proper nouns of people, names of places, name of things. The third one is capitalizing I. Always we capitalize the pronoun I, always. And the last one, for example, is capitalizing titles. That is how we use capitalization. And finally, capitalizing days, months, and holidays. Don't forget these. So these are our rules of capitalization. So let's do a few exercises and how well you remember them. Correct the capitalization of the sentences below. Number 1. I love playing with my sister. I love playing with my sister. Number 2. Hiwat is a really nice girl. Number 3. They said I could join the team. We will visit Grandpa for Easter. Number 5, Harry Potter is my favorite book. I am going to London next Friday. Number 7, my mother and I watched TV. So, I want you to look at all of the capitalization errors in these sentences and try to correct them, okay? So, and then we'll come back together and do it together. So I'm sure you all did a wonderful job of correcting these sentences, but let's see them together and see how well you did and how well you remember the examples that we gave earlier. The first one, I love playing with my sister. So here, I is at the beginning of a sentence, one, and it is also what? A pronoun, I, that we always capitalize. So here, the error is I, so we have to capitalize it. The second one, Hiwat is a really nice girl. So Hiwat is what? It is a proper noun. It is a name of a person. It is a name of a girl. So if that is the case, it cannot be written in small letter, and it is also at the beginning of, in this case, at the beginning of a sentence. So we have to, again, capitalize it. So Hiwat is a really nice girl. Number 3, they said I could join the team. So there are 2 errors in this sentence. The first one is at the beginning of the sentence, they has to be capitalized, and what? After it, I is also what? In a small letter. So we also have to capitalize it. So here we're going to write they said, and they said I could join the team. That is how we correct it. Number 4, if you see the question 4, we will visit Grandpa for Easter. So we have 2 corrections here. The first one is we should be capitalized, and the second one is Easter is a name of a holiday. So if it is a holiday and a date, a month, last time we said that we will capitalize it. So these 2 are the corrections. Number 5 is Harry Potter is my favorite book. So Harry Potter is a name of or a title of a book. So if that is the case, Harry and Potter should also be capitalized. Why? In this case, 2 things. Because it is a title, and 2, because it is a name. It is a name of a character. If that is the case, they are both capitalized. H and P are capitalized. The 6th one is I am going to London next Friday. Unlike the above ones, in this case, we have capitalized I, but we have missed capitalizations in 2 things. The first one is a proper noun, London. It is a name of a place, so it has to be capitalized. And Friday, F has to also be capitalized because it is a name of a day. Okay, and finally, my mother said I watched TV. Again, here we have 2 capitalization corrections. The first one is my mother, my. So my has to be capitalized with M, and again, I. Do not forget this. I also has to be capitalized. Always when we are doing capitalization, we should not forget these things. And thank you all. These were all about capitalizations and the rules of capitalizations. I hope you have gotten a lot of things, and I hope to see you again next time. Have a good time.
In this video, we are going to learn about capitalization. Can you say that? Capitalization. Wow, what a long word. Capitalization. Capitalization is simple. It's using capital letters. Here is a capital